Hello everyone, and welcome to my ARAM tier list. Before I start, I would like to tell you the patch on which this tier list was made. It is 12.18 or 12.118, but I don't believe patch updates matter that much when it comes to ARAM. Of course, they matter, but not that much. And because of that, I believe you can use this tier list a long time after patch 12.18. But that is just my opinion. So, additionally, the new shams are at the bottom, as you can see. So we will get to them towards the end. Okay, let us start from Aatrox. Aatrox, I would say, is a B tier. Ari. Ari is definitely S tier, especially after the rework. And a really fun champion to play as well. Akali is also S tier. Again, really fun. And maybe what I really like about Akali is her easy access to the bot line. So if the enemy has a lot of tanks, and if it is very hard for you to get, normally it is easier for Akali to access the backline and kill the ADCs. Alastair, in my opinion, might be a boring champion to play because he's a tank, but I believe he's really effective in ARAM, so I put him in A. Amumu, the same as Alastar, but not as effective. Great ult if you could land his ult, especially on all 5 enemy champs, but yeah, it depends on the situation. I put him in B. Anivia. Anivia is actually a very strong champion ARAM, especially if you can land her stun and her ult. Really strong. I would put her in A. Annie, I really like Annie. She is actually one of my favorite ARAM champs. She's really good, especially if you can land the Tibers. You hide in a bush, I don't know, use snowball, flash, run, then land Tibers on all 5 champs. Really good. I'll put Annie in A. Aphelios. Aphelios is a good ADC in ARAM. Probably one of the better ADCs, I'd say. Yeah, I'll put Aphelios in A. Ashe. Now, I think, or I believe, Ashe is a very difficult champion to play in ARAM. I've tried different builds. I've tried Mage Ashe, Support Ashe, ADC Ashe. But I've never got her to really work effectively in ARAM, so I put her in C. Soul, Aurelion Soul. I'll be honest, I'm not very good at A Soul, but I've seen people really do amazing things using him in ARAM. But really, I don't know, you don't see him that often. Okay, let's go with I'll go with A. Yeah. Azir is again another one of my favorite champions in ARAM. Especially if you can really dash to the backline and use your ult, you can really do amazing things with him. And also a really fun champion to play. I'll put him in A. Bard, again, another champion I don't know well to play, I'll be honest. And I don't think I've seen much done with him either. So I'll put Bard in the C list. Blitzcrank. It's good if you can land his hook. I mean, I've seen some amazing Blitzcranks doing amazing things in ARAM. Mm, but I feel like you maybe, of course, you can also use his alt. Um, yeah, but you really have to land his hook. I feel like he's a one trick. So I'll put him in B. Bard, get if you can, not Bard, I mean Brand. Brand, if you can land his alt, he's really effective. Especially if you could land his alt on all five enemy champs. Really good. I'll put him in. Braum again might be a bit boring to play. You'd probably be raising your shield the whole time and defending your backline. But he was really effective. He is really effective, especially if all the enemy champs are ranged. Yeah. I think he's like a luster, so I put him in A. Luster. Caitlyn is also good in ARAM. Really nice range, and her traps are really annoying. But maybe the problem is Caitlyn is can she 1v5? She as good as Aphelios. Yeah, I'll put Caitlyn in B. Camille. I think I'll put Camille in. Yeah, not that common. I really don't see many Camille's in ARAM. It might also be sort of, I don't know, is she boring or fun? I guess it depends on whether you can land her E. You dash, stun, then W, then I don't know. Yeah, I'll put her in B. Cassiopeia, I believe Cassiopeia is really effective in ARAM, especially, yeah, very effective champion. And really scales well as well, so I'll put Cassiopeia in A. Cho'Gath. Yeah, one of the more common champs in ARAM. Yeah, I mean, you can really get tanky, and especially if the key goes to late game, it's really effective. But I believe the most effective ability he has is his Q. It really, especially if you can land it on more than one champ on the enemy team, really good. I'll put Cho in A. Corki. I also like Corki. He's also one of the champs I really like playing in ARAM. And I believe he is really good too. His passive is really amazing in ARAM, and his R ultimate is also really good. Yeah, I'll put Corki in A. Darius. Now, this is a very difficult champion to place in my opinion. I believe Darius is especially one of the hardest champs I've had to play against an era. I've seen one or two Darius's 1v5. It is like no matter what we couldn't kill him. Maybe build some anti-heal didn't work, and in the end we usually surrender. But I really rarely see that. It is really rare to see a Darius of that level. I'll put him in A. Diana. Yeah, Diana is actually very good in ARAM, especially if you can learn her R, and very easy to learn as well for ARAM, at least very easy. Diana also A. Draven. Yeah, Draven. Maybe the problem Draven is the short range. Say as compared to say maybe Caitlyn. But Draven also has sustain. He has really good sustain. Draven. And actually, Draven might not be that hard to play in ARAM because it might be easier to catch his axes. Draven. I'll put him in B. Mundo. Yeah, Mundo. Maybe A? A or B. Yeah, I find Mundo to be one of those aggressive tanks. You really have to be aggressive on him because he's not as tanky, but you can really score kills. So that's how you have to play him in era. But whether your team understands that or not, I'll put him in B. Echo. Echo is actually one of my mains. I'm really good at him. Really fun to play in era. But I don't think you can 1v5, say, to the level of Akali or Ari. And he's really very squishy, and if you get CC'd, then that's it. So I put him in A. But maybe I'll put him the top of the A list here. Elise. Elise is actually, I don't know. I find Elise to be a very good champion era. Yeah, just if I'm not mistaken, max W first. Like the spiders, yeah. And use that ability mostly. So that way of playing might be boring, but yeah, Elise is actually really good. So I'll put her in A. Evelyn. Another difficult champion to place. Evelyn. Either you're really doing good or you're doing nothing. Evelyn. Yeah, Evelyn is usually very hard to play in era. You have to get fed early, quickly. If not, then you're basically useless. Because of that, I'll put her in B. Ezreal. Ezreal is actually good. He's really safe. He is really safe. And yeah, put him in. Fiddlesticks. Yeah, I think Fiddlesticks has to be one of the best champs in era. If you can, I don't think it is very hard to land his R on all 5 members of the enemy team, and for some reason, it is as if your enemy always forgets that you hide in a bush and try to land your ult on them. They always forget, so it is usually easy to land his ult, so I'll put him in the S tier. Pure. So Fiora, I believe she's really fun. I really like playing her in ARAM. A really fun champ. The problem with Fiora is her early game, but if you can pass some threshold, say, I don't know, if you can get 3 items, then you're basically unstoppable. Fiora is like Darius, like I said before. After a while, she would be impossible to stop, impossible to kill. She can basically 1v5, but her early game is very difficult. I'll put her in A. Fizz. Fizz. I think Fizz is definitely a S tier. Land is alt and very hard to kill. You Q out. Yeah, I mean E out. You can use your Q. You can use your W. Yeah, I don't think it's that hard to play either. So Fizz definitely S tier. Galio. One of the more exciting tanks. I mean, if you can go major, you can go tank on Galio. I prefer going tank and then land his E. The taunt, was it the W? I think it was the W. You could also land the knock up, I think that is the E. I'll put him in B. GP. For me, GP is probably the hardest champion to play in ARAM. I've tried many times, but still, I can basically do nothing on GP in ARAM. He's very hard for me. And I don't also see that many good GPs in ARAM. So because of that, but if he's really good, he's really good. But I think he would be very hard to play for most people, so I put him in B. Aaron. Garen is also one of those hard to stop champions. He's more of the hit and run champ in ARAM. So the idea with Garen is that you never die because you heal quickly. So you get some, you attack, you get attacked, and then you run away, and then you heal back, and then do the same thing. He's really boring in my opinion in ARAM. I really do not like playing Garen. I don't think many people like playing him either, but he is really good. There's no doubt about that. I put him in B for being boring. Nar. Nar is about landing your ult. And of course, you can also very easy to escape on Nar. You can easily jump out. I put Nar in A. Gragas. Gragas is also good in ARAM. I mean, if you can land your R at the proper place and knock back some of the enemy champs, he's really effective. Yeah, I like Gragas. I'll put him in A. Graves. Graves is also good. Yeah, he is actually a good champ. An ARAM. But whether you go ADC or Assassin, I would both are actually quite good in my opinion. Graves. I think I'll put them in B. Gwen. Also another one of my favorite champs to play in ARAM. If you can use her ult properly, Gwen is probably one of the most effective champs in ARAM. But you have to go in every time. You have to go in every time your ult is up. Yeah, I'll put Gwen in S. Hecarim has always throughout many patches has always been one of the best champs in ARAM. I mean, it might be a bit hard to know how to play him in ARAM, knowing what to do. You basically have to be aggressive and use your E, W, and Q continuously. But once you get him down, he's really good in ARAM, so I'll put him S. Heimerdinger. Probably one of the most annoying champs in ARAM. I'm not. I really don't know. Do not play him that often. But for me, he is really one of the most annoying champs to play against. He makes, for example, he makes using your snowball much harder. Yeah, he's one of those champs like him, Zyra, his cannons, the ones that he can place on the ground. They're really annoying. He makes accessing his champs really hard. Very annoying. I put him in very effective in era. Ilawi. Ilawi. Ilawi is also. I feel like. Damn, I've seen Ilawi 1v5 easily. But that is if all the enemy team is melee and they don't know how Ilawi works. For some reason, they keep on attacking her in her ult. They have no heal cut, no anti heal. And then you'd see Ilawi do 1v5. But if the enemy team knows what to do against you, then yeah, okay, I'll put Ilawi in A. But yeah, it's very, very situational. Irelia. Irelia. Yes, Irelia is actually one of my favorite champions. Another one of my favorite champions in era. Very fun to play and can easily 1v5. I'll put her in S tier. Yeah, Irelia. It is also not that hard for her to access the backline. Yeah. Hide in a push, use your E1, then flash, use your alt, then use your E2, then yeah, you can basically 1v5. So S. Ivan, again, another champion I don't know how to play well. I don't see Ivan that much in ARAM either. He's a very rare champ. I just would put him in C. I don't think I've seen Ivan 1v5 or carry in ARAM. Never. Jaina. Jaina is Jaina. I don't know. Jaina, in my opinion, would go in. Yeah, her cyclone is really annoying. And she can do it again and again. She can basically spam that. It's probably one of the most annoying abilities in Era. The cyclone. The cyclone. I'll put her in A. Yeah. J4. 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 I prefer the assassin build on him. And where you reduce the cooldown of your ult to a very low number. If you can do that, he's really good. Again, another A-lister. Tirer in the A tier. Okay, so many champs in the A tier actually. Jax is like Fiora, if I'm not mistaken. The early game is really hard on Jax. I would say it is easier than Fiora's early game, but Fiora scales much better in ARAM. And yeah, Jax, say if the enemy team is not auto attack based, if they're more mages, then you're not as effective. Yeah, and I really do not like playing Jackson ARAM. I find him to be very boring. You're basically doing the same thing again and again and again. I'll put Jackson B. Yeah. Alright, Jace. Jace, 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 Jace. Okay, let me do that. Jace. Jace, very annoying in ARAM, no doubt about that. He is one of those champs that can easily poke you in ARAM. He's more of a poke champ in ARAM. And also, he also has disengage. He can also engage on you. Yeah, Jace is definitely a Jhin. Jhin is probably a very common and loved champ in ARAM. If you roll Jhin, then you definitely find at least one person wanting to change their champ with you. And that is warranted. Jhin is very strong in ARAM and also very fun to play. Yeah. Man, he's probably one of the funnest champions to play in ARAM. Yeah, he's also really good, yeah. I'll put him in S tier definitely. Jinx, 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 Jinx. 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 Yeah, you really need good teammates to play Jinx. You need to have a tank, you need to have a person that peels for you. So say if the enemy has a champ like Zed or Katarina or Talon, then you're basically useless on Jinx. So you might find it very hard to play Jinx sometimes. So for that, I'll just put her in B. Kaisa. Kaisa, at a certain point, was definitely an S tier champ in era. And I think it was because of that they nerfed her W. Was it E or W? That really annoying ability that she can shoot from a very long distance. After that was nerfed, I mean, if you go AP Kaisa, not AD, AP Kaisa, still AP Kaisa is more effective than AD Kaisa. Yeah, this champ has made me rage quit ARAM many times, man. Really annoying. I'll put her in A. Kalista. Kalista can get annoying. She can easily peel and she can easily kite, but is Kalista 1v5 ADC? I don't think so. I'll put her in B. Karma, a very common champ in era. Very, very common. She also has that annoying ability. I think it is R and her E. Or was it the Q? That ability is really annoying. And also she can actually stun you and yeah, very effective in era. Karma, I'll put her in A. Kartus is also good in ARAM. But the question is, how do you play Kartus? Is it where you always die, feed, and also get fed? Yeah, I really do not like playing Kartus in ARAM. Yeah, because of the style that you have to play. If you're playing safe, you're not going to get fed. You're not going to get much. But if you're feeding and if you're dying all the time, then that is very boring to play. I'll put him in B. Kassadin. Now guys, listen to me. If you want ARAM easy mode, Then the champion that you have to play is Kassadin. Without doubt, the most broken champ in ARAM is Kassadin. If you or anyone in your team rolls that champion, please play this champ. He might get a bit boring after a while, but besides that, the most, the best ARAM champ without doubt is Kassadin. Katarina. A very fun champion to play, no doubt about that. Yeah, and Katarina can easily 1v5, there's no doubt about that either. And like Akali, she can easily access the backline. The problem with Katarina is it's probably hard for her to get out after she goes in. Akali can use her shout, but Kata doesn't have much to get out, especially if you cannot dash to your teammates. If you run out of knives, very hard to get out, but still no doubt S tier. Kale. Kale. Okay, so Kale is also one of the most OP champs in ARAM, like Kassadin, but Kale needs time. She needs to be level 16. After that, trust me, if you have Kale in your team or if you're playing Kale, the chances of you losing is very rare. If you get to level 16, you cannot lose on Kale. But if you don't, then most enemy teams would know that and they would probably try to end the game before that. So I'll just put Kale in A. Kane. Kane is also like Darius. Yeah, you shouldn't. I don't think you should play blue Kane in ARAM. You should play red Kane. The one that heals and is very hard to kill. That's the Kane that you should play in ARAM. Seems like Darius, basically. If, if, if. Yeah, sometimes Kane becomes unstoppable. He continuously heals, no one can kill him, and is basically 1v5ing. I'll put him in A. Okay, Cannon. Cannon is out using his ult again. It's actually very easy to land Cannon's ult in ARAM. You probably land it every time it is up. It's not an issue of landing your ult, but the question is whether your teammates understand what you're trying to do. If you go in alone, what would happen would be you'll get most of the enemy team low on health, but then you'll just die, and then after that they will heal, and it is as if you have done nothing. So when you're going in, your teammates should understand what you're doing, and they should be going in with you. If not, if that's not happening, then you're basically doing nothing. But if you have a good team, then Cannon is probably one of the more effective champs in ARAM. I'll put him in A. Okay, Kazakhs. Kazakhs is without doubt an A. An S tier, not A but S. Yeah. Kazakhs can pretty much one-shot every ADC in ARAM. Yeah. And they would probably give up playing, even if the enemy team is doing good. And you start, say, they're playing with two ADCs, two squishy champs, and you kill them, then the enemy team becomes useless. And those people that just died give up. So yeah, Kazakhs is actually one of the better champs in ARAM. And it's actually not that hard to kill the enemy, the squishes that I mentioned, the squishy champs on the enemy team that I mentioned. It's actually very easy to kill them. Yeah. Yes. Kindred. Kindred is actually one of the better ADCs in ARAM. She also, so the problem with ADCs in ARAM are like champions like Kha'Zix, Katarina, Akali. Yeah, it might become so that you pretty much cannot play these champs, these ADCs like Caitlyn, because you just die and die, respawn, die, respawn. But that can happen. So a champ like Kindred, who can actually prevent that, would actually be one of the better ADCs. Yeah, even Kale can prevent that. Kale can probably kill Kha'Zix before he can kill her, but she can actually use her ult, so that's why she's in the A tier. Alright, Kled. Kled, I cannot say I'm good at him, but whenever I play him, I seem to do really good in ARA. His ult is really amazing. He's really tanky if you go tank, of course, and you should definitely go tank. I'll put Kled in A. Kog'Maw. Yeah, Kog'Maw is good, but like I said, he is a very easy target for assassins, and it might be very hard to play in those situations. I'll put him in B. LeBlanc. Okay, LeBlanc. LeBlanc, LeBlanc. LeBlanc is either S or A. Yeah? LeBlanc is probably the funnest champion to play in ARAM, and definitely, you know, very hard to kill. Which LeBlanc? Is it the clone? LeBlanc was here, then she's not here anymore. Yeah, I really like playing LeBlanc S tier. Lee Sin. Yeah, this Lee Sin, whether you go assassin or bruiser, is good. It would be useless late game, but probably Lee. The thing about Lee Sin is, in the early game, he is probably one of the champs that can easily kill anyone. So if you can land your Q, you probably can kill that target. Yeah. And he is also fun, so I'll put him in A. Leona, again, one of the most annoying champs in ARAM. But very boring. Yeah. And is she as effective as Rom or Alistair? I don't think so, so I'll put her in B. Lilia, again. Lilia's Q is probably one of the most annoying abilities in ARAM. Yeah, not Q, I mean E, her E, the ball that she throws out. It's very annoying. Yeah, you can probably just spam that ability and really be doing the most damage in your team, just that E ability. I'll put her in E. Okay, Lissandra. Yeah, Lissandra depends on how you play her. If you're playing aggressive, she's really good. Just go and use her out. Don't die. Annoy the enemy team, then stopwatch. Yeah, if you do that, then Lissandra is really good. I will put her in A. Okay. Okay, Lucian. Lucian again. He's a an assassin target. I mean, he has a dash, but I don't think that will help you get out. And he's very close ranged. Yeah, so I put him in B. Lulu. Yeah, Lulu actually works with, say, hyper carry like Jinx, or yeah, Lulu can make. Lulu is basically the counterplay to the tactic to the method I just talked about. So Kha'Zix and whatever assassin goes to kill your ADC, and then you shield them, you use R on them, then they basically don't die. And so Lulu can do that. I'll just put her in B. Lux, probably again one of the most common and most beloved ARAM champs, and for good reason. And also one of the most annoying champs to play at. Yeah, she has really annoying abilities. Her stun is annoying, and her E, so their W, is really annoying. So Lux would be A. Malphite. Malphite is about using your ultimate properly, but the thing about Malphite is that he's a really boring champion to play in era. I really do not like playing him because of that. I put him in B. Malzahar. Malzahar is good because, like I said, he can't stop assassins. That is the best thing about Malzahar in era. His R. Yeah. That is a really amazing ability in ARAM, especially if you're playing against assassins. So maybe Kha'Zix or Zed, on that second they're visible, they're attacking. If you can R them, then they're dead. So because of this, I'll put Malzahar in A. Maokai. Oh yeah. So another one of the most annoying abilities has to be Maokai's E. Yeah. So if you're playing against Maokai and he's going AP, you basically cannot play in bushes. Yeah, so for champions like Kha'Zix, that would be really bad. Because he has this E, I don't know, dolls or whatever you call them in the bush, and they do a lot of damage. So that is really an annoying ability. But Maokai is really boring. He's a very boring champ to play in here. I'll put him in B. Master Yi has to be, yeah, without doubt, an S tier ARAM champ. Yep. Just do not go in first. So the most important rule in Master Yi, unless you're very fed, do not go in first. If you go in first, you'll die. But if you do not go in first, if you go in second or third, then you can basically 1v5. Miss Fortune, also S tier in my opinion. Her ult is really amazing in ARAM. And again, in my opinion, you should go AD-MF and not AP-MF. So do not go Mage MF. That wouldn't work. I mean, it would work, but it's not as effective as Assassin. Also, do not go ADC MF. Go Assassin MF. And spam her ult. MF is actually one of the better champs in ARAM. Maybe one problem again for MF would be assassins, but I feel like MF would get really fed by that point, and she probably can kill the assassins before they can kill her, or she can stay safe very playing really safe and then just use her ult. So yeah, Mep is actually probably the best. Also, we have Jin over here, one of the two good best ADCs in ARAM. Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser is not bad. He's good. Yeah, you cannot go wrong with Mordekaiser, but you have to always land his E. Yeah, that is the most important part. After you land your E, you have to trigger your passive. If you can do that every time you fight, then Mordekaiser is actually one of the better ARAM champs. I'll put him in A. Oh, Morgana. Morgana. Morgana is basically like Lux, a very annoying champion to play against. Her stun, because it is ARAM, it is easier to land. I'll put her in A. Nami. I'll be honest, I am not really good on Nami. Yeah, but her ult is really good. Her bubbles, really good. Yeah, I'll put her in B. Nasus. So the thing about Nasus is that AP Nasus would be, you'd think that version of Nasus would be the most effective in ARAM, yeah. But that is a really very boring way of playing Nasus. I mean, any way you play Nasus is actually boring. I personally believe AD Nasus is better than AP Nasus. Nasus, especially if you can stack up your Q. Yeah, if you can get it above 800, then you can definitely 1v5, trust me. All 5 enemy champions can be attacking you and they cannot kill you. Yeah, of course the build would be where you're building mostly tank. But Nasus is probably the most boring champion to play in ARAM. I'll put him in B, but if he can get 800 stuck on his Q, will be unstoppable. B. Nautilus. Nautilus would be like Blitzcrank. He would be in B. Nico, I think Nico has to be S tier. Yeah. Basically unkillable because she can use her W. And then when you engage on her, she can use her W. And her ult, especially combined with Snowball, is probably one of the most effective abilities in ARAM. Nico is definitely S. Nidali. Nidali, everyone knows ARAM Nidali. Without doubt, the most annoying ARAM champ has to be Nidali. Yeah, her spears would make you rage quit without doubt. But for some reason, I don't see many Nidali teams winning. I don't know. Maybe instead of playing poke, they play engage. And if there's too much engage, then maybe you're not using Nidali as much as you can. Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen Nidali 1v5 either. She's more like use her spear and all of a sudden you're at 10% HP, you're full initially, but now you're at 10%. But I feel like many people know how to play against Nidali in Era. I'll put her in A. Nocturne. Nocturne, his ult is very amazing in Era. and he can really one shot many champs as well. So I'll put him in A, really effective. No, 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 no. Yeah, I used to play a lot of Nunu a while back. Now I'm sort of bored playing him, but without doubt, he's really good. And ARAM, probably one of the funniest things that you could do. And ARAM is use Nunu's alt while hiding in a bush. You can probably kill all five uh, members of the enemy team. Yeah, I'll put him in A. Olaf, Olaf, Olaf. Olaf, maybe the most important thing about him is his ult, where you know your CC immune. Yeah, boring champ in my opinion. I'll put him in B. All right, Oriana. Oriana. Again, I would admit I'm not very good at Oriana. She seems to be a good champ, or at least sometimes. Especially her ult can one-shot the enemy team. So I'll put her in A. Orn. Orn, again, he's like Alistair or Braum, but he can also upgrade his team's items. I'll put him in A. Pantheon was actually Pantheon, yeah, he seems to be good at first, but he's really squishy and probably the most useless champion late game. Yeah, early game and mid game you can probably 1v5, but come late game you probably cannot do anything. So that's the biggest problem with Pantheon. Yeah. And of course you always have to play him aggressively. I'll put him in A. He is really good early game and mid game. Poppy is also, I think I'll put her in B. The most important ability on Poppy would be her ult, but mostly you use that to kill an enemy as opposed to reducing the enemy to 4 members, reducing their numbers. If you use that, maybe she would be better, but if you're just using her ult to kill the enemy, an enemy champ, then she's B. Oh, Pike is without doubt S tier. Yeah, it is very rare to see a team with a Pike in it lose. If you have a Pike in your team, you'll probably win. Unless, of course, you have that very rare bad first-time Pike player, then it's probably assured. Yeah. It is assured that you would win. Kiana, also very easy to land her ult in ARAM, much easier. Yeah, I'll put Kiana in B. Should be an A, but I'll put her in B because okay, I'll put her in A. I was going to say I've never seen anyone 1v5, but I have. She's actually one of the 1v5 champs in ARAM. Yeah, if you're really good in Kiana, then you probably don't need your team members. You can easily 1v5. Quinn. Yeah, Quinn is actually a better ADC. Because she can blind whatever assassin is coming after her. She can blind them, yeah. And then if they're blind, they cannot attack her. So I don't know what you call that status effect. I don't know whether you call it blind, but they cannot see. Yeah, I think it's her Q. Yeah, if you can use that, then whatever assassin is coming after her cannot do anything. But the problem with Quinn is that she is very short ranged. So longer ranged ADCs can probably easily kill her. I'll put her in A. Rakan. Yeah, Rakan is again one of the annoying champs in ARAM, not common, but if you see a good Rakan in ARAM, he is basically who is carrying his team. I'll put him in A. Ramus. I think I'll put Ramus in C. Yeah, I don't know, probably boring and sort of. I don't like Ramus in ARAM. Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai is actually a good champ in ARAM. Yeah, the thing about Rek'Sai, she's like Kiana, you can probably 1v5. Unless it is late game. The thing about Kiana is, even in late game, she can 1v5, but Rek'Sai cannot. But she has a very powerful early game, and you probably can kill anyone you want, as long as, of course, they're not a tank. Sort of easier to access the backline on her. I'll put Rek'Sai in E or B. Yeah, because of her alt, I'll put her in E. Rel. Yeah, Rel, I feel like the job of Rel is to be annoying. The typical tank. Everyone attacks when they shouldn't, and they waste their abilities on them, and then they die because they keep on attacking the tank after me. Renekton is actually, again, he's one of those very strong early game champs, but you have to understand how to play him. You have to play on that line, whether you between the line between going in, playing aggressively, and being one shot, and playing a bit safer than that. So you have to find that right balance to play Renekton well in ARAM. But if you do, you would be surprised how much damage this guy does. He is like Lee Sin, so I'll probably put him next to Lee Sin. Alright, Rengar. Rengar is like Kha'Zix. I'd say a bit worse than Kha'Zix. But I would still put Rengar in A. If you can get rolling, you probably can make the enemy team rage quit. Yeah, maybe the problem with Rengar is that until you get rolling, until you do that, he would be hard to play, but if you do that, then you're basically unstoppable. Riven. Yeah, Riven is one of the more effective champs in ARAM. I'll put her in A. You just need to land her stun. That is the most important ability to land her stun. If you do that, she's actually really effective. I'll put her at the top of the A list here. Rumble. Again, Rumble is about landing his ultimate ability, his ult. Very annoying ability. His ult is really annoying, and he's also hard to kill because of his shield. And he's also very fast. Can move very fast. I'll put him in A. Rise. Rise is also good. The thing is, you can damage a lot of the enemy team at the same time. That is the biggest advantage, and of course CC as well. And also his ult. If you're not using Rise's ult and ARAM, then please use it. It's actually one of the more, seems at first a useless ability, but very important, because you and whatever assassin or bruiser you have in your team can get access to the backline, which is very important in ARAM. So that is really important for Rise. I'll put him in A. Okay, Samira. Samira is again one of the more better ADCs. Yeah, she can dodge most ranged abilities using what was that, her W. And then she can, is actually one of the ADCs you can 1v5 with. An ARAM, so I'll put her in S. Sejuani. Sejuani is again one of the more more fun champs to play in ARAM. She's a tank, of course you have to play her, do not play Sejuani mage, you have to play her tank. But Sejuani is also fun, unlike most of the tanks I talked about. But maybe she might not be as effective as, say, Luster or Ward. I mean Braum. But she is much more fun. I'll put her in E. Senna. Again, Senna is not a champion I'm good at. Yeah, Senna again has a problem of being one shot if you're playing against assassins. And Senna in general is weak early game. I'll put her in B. Seraphine. Seraphine, okay. Seraphine is all about landing her ult. If you can land her ult, then that ult is probably one of the best abilities in ARAM. If you can land it on all 5 champs, then all of them would die, yeah? Much better than, say, Sona's ult, this one. And then she can also heal her teammates. I'll put her A. Seth. I think Seth has to be an S tier. Probably the most annoying ARAM champ to play. One of the most annoying ARAM champs to play against would be Seth. Yeah. Especially if whoever you're playing against do not know what to do against Seth. Like they keep on attacking him, and then he builds up his grit or whatever it's called, and then he uses his W, or is it his E, and then he kills them, and they keep on doing the same thing. If that is the case, Seth is probably one of the best champions in ARAM. Shaco, I used to think he was one of the better champs in ARAM, or the one I would maybe S tier. I used to think that, but not anymore. One, Shaco falls off after a while. He is not as effective, unless of course you play AD Shaco. But you shouldn't play AD Shaco in ARAM. You should play him AP. because AD Shaco, unless you're really, really, really good on Shaco, then you're not using Shaco to the best of his abilities. AP Shaco does most of his damage through his clone and the AP one, clone and his boxes. So those would do damage from AP damage, yeah. And if you go Leandries, damage over time. So that's how you should play Shaco. But you would be doing good until mid game, but come late game, you're not as effective. You really fall off. That is the problem with Shaco. I put him in A because of his. Provided it is AP Shaco, has amazing mid and early game. Shen. Again, Shen is like, for me, he is like Sejuani. One of the more fun functions. Yeah. Again, maybe not as effective as Alistair, but very fun to play. Funner, more fun to play. Shivana. Shivana is probably A. I'm not putting Shivana in the S tier because first, she's A, she's really good because of her E. Yeah, that can put almost all champ on the enemy team, reduce their health from 100% to 50% with one E, if you're doing it in her dragon form, that is. And then if you do the second, if you can land the second E, then all of them are dead. So that is why she is really good, but I feel like there are so many counter plays against Shivana. If the enemy knows what you're trying to do, they will probably hide during your dragon form, or they will do something to avoid that E. If you cannot land your E, then you're not that good. So that's the major problem with Shivana. That's why she's not in the S tier. Singed. Singed. I'll put him in E. I really like playing this champ. He is one of the funnest champions for me to play, if not the most fun. Yeah, I mean, should I put him in S? I've seen things change the outcome of many ARAM games. I'll put him in S. Really, really important and effective in ARAM. Cyan. Cyan is a very weird champ in ARAM. You have to know how to play this guy. And I think the way you have to play him is use your ult every time it is up. Go in, it doesn't matter if you die. Try to land your ult, and then try to land your Q. Maybe while you're hiding in bushes, but maybe the thing about Cyan is you have to probably die. You can sort of again change the outcome of the game. But I don't think it is fun because I don't think dying a lot is fun. So what do science do? Like I said, use your art, then maybe use your Q from a bush. If not, you're using your art and then you're dying and then you're attacking the enemy turret in zombie form. So if you want to win while not having fun, I'd go with Cyan. As of that, I would put him in B. Severe. Again, one of the more short-ranged ADCs. I don't see Severe's doing well, especially after the rework. Started playing her ADC as opposed to Assassin Severe. Assassin Severe was much better. The ADC one, not so much. I'll put her there. B. I'll put her C. I usually, and I see many people struggle on super. Yeah. Okay, Skarner. 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 Hmm. You'd think he would be an effective tank, but I don't see that often. Whenever I see Skarner, he or his team is probably losing, and he's not much of a fun champ to play either. I'll put him in C. Sona is like Seraphine, but worse in era. Seraphine is here, so I'll put Sona here. Soraka. I think Soraka is probably. You know what the thing about Soraka is that she can silence many champs out of their abilities. That is the most annoying thing about Soraka. Yeah. Yeah, Soraka is a Swain. Swain, as long as you don't play him too aggressively, he is also one of the better champs, but you have to know the limits of the champs. They're much lesser than what they seem to be. You're very squishy, so if you understand that, then you'd probably do well on Swain. But since at least until late game he's very squishy, I'll put him an A. Silas, I really want to place the champ high on the list, but Silas is I don't do well on him. I don't see most people do well on him. Without doubt, he is one of the more fun champs to play. Very fun to play, but you'll struggle, especially if you don't have good ults to steal. You'd definitely struggle. I'll put him in B or A or yeah. Can Silas 1v5? I've never seen that, so I'll put him in B. Syndra. Now Syndra might be S or A because of that one ability. Is it her E? The pushback ability? That is again probably one of the most annoying abilities on Era. Because I've only seen once or twice a person 1v5 using Syndra. I'll put her on A. But that pushback ability is, oh wow, it's really annoying. Tom Kench. Tom Kench is A or S. I'll put him in A. He's more of one of those aggressive tanks where you don't die, but you also do some sort of, it's not, say, very high damage, but you do damage, especially if you're swallowing enemy player and if you're spitting them out on the side of your team. That's really annoying. But yeah, Tom Kench. I'll put him in A. Talia as definite A. Her knockback ability is one of the most annoying abilities and most effective abilities in ARAM. Yeah. Talia is probably, yeah, it's very rare to see a Talia lose in ARAM, to be honest. Hmm. Should I put her in S? Okay, put her in A. Talon is, yeah, these assassins are, most of them should be in A list. I mean in the S tier. Yeah, they would. This guy can probably one shot two of the squishies on the enemy team, then the enemy team is done. Then he would die, but he has done the damage already. Especially his ult is definitely one shot for many of the squishy champions in the game, so I'll put him in S. Tarek, whenever, I don't know why, but whenever I play with Tarek and my team, we seem to never win. I don't know why. You'd think his ult would be one of the most important or good abilities in ARAM, but usually isn't. Maybe the stun is better, but I don't know. I don't know. I'll put Tarek and B. Timo B. Okay, maybe not. So the best counterplay against Timo and ARAM is to get super minions, so to destroy the enemy inhibitors. That's what you should do if you're playing against Timo. Do that as soon as possible. So the Timo that works is AP Timo, where he builds Leandris and damage over time items. That is the most annoying version of Timo. But I don't know, most Timos, for me, the most annoying thing about Timo players is they usually hide in bushes and they wait until their ult lands, and if the enemy team is low enough, then they would attack him. And yeah, I mean, that has to be a very boring way of playing Timo, but that's what most Timo players do. I'm not saying there aren't good Timo players who are doing a lot. So is Timo good in ARAM? Yes, there's no doubt about it, but you have to be doing something. You have to be helping your team. If not, he's not. Okay, I'll put him in B. Okay, I'll put him in A. If it is a good Timo, and it is you, Timo's team, that has destroyed the enemy team's inhib, then it would be, and Timo is building the right items, damage over time items, then it is really annoying to play against Timo's mushrooms. Yeah. So that could be your win condition. Yeah, okay, I'll put him in A. No, I should put him in B. I really do not like it when Timo is on my team, and I really do not care if he is on the enemy team. I don't remember any time when I said, "Oh shit, they have Timo." That would be hard to play against. I never remember that. No. Trash. Trash. He has Lantern, he has Hook, and his ult also slows enemy teams. Trash is A. Very effective. Tristana is B. So you cannot play Tristana like you play other ADCs on ARAM. And because of that, I'll put her in B. You have to play her aggressively, where you're going in with your W, killing someone, and going out with your W. If you're playing Triss safe and ARAM, you will not succeed. It is mostly where you're playing aggressively, you might die, but that's okay, don't die too much, but you have to get fed on Triss. Yeah, she is very short ranged. and she should land her E, which would be hard because of the short range. Yes, I'll put her end again. If the enemy team has assassin, then you're done. You'll probably die before you can W out. Okay, but she has peel. I'll put her in. So Tristana has a peel against assassins, and that's her R. Yeah. So she sort of can survive because if she can use R before the assassins can get to her, and because of that, I'll put her in. Yeah. Trundle seems to be a good in ARAM, but he doesn't do as much damage as you would like him to do. I will put him in B. Trundamir is one of those 1v5 champs, but you have to sort of know his playstyle. Maybe the in and out playstyle. But I feel like he would need someone like Nu Yumi's help to 1v5 over maybe. Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate, the problem with TF is he's really good at poke. But come late game, you're not doing much damage. So that is the biggest problem with me when it comes to TF. He doesn't do as much damage as the other mages. That is the biggest problem with TF. I would put him in, but and the stun only applies to one champion. So I don't know. I'll put him. Twitch. Twitch is C for me. He is very hard to play in ARAM because of, again, his short range. Unless you're using your ult. And no one likes Twitch, so if they see you, everyone for some reason focuses you, and you die, you have no peel. Maybe you can go invisible, but that is if you're not doing damage, you're easy assassin target. Yeah, I really do not like playing Twitch. Oh dear, so this icon is before the rework, but rework he has been changed, oh dear, and was recently nerfed. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see you dear doing much. I'll put him in C. Ergot. Ergot is again you have to get to late game. And you have to be a good Ergot player, which would be hard for most people. Unless of course you are an Ergot one trick or you're very good at him. For the average Joe trying to pick up Ergot for ARAM, I feel like Ergot is one of the more harder champs. He might be effective, but that is on late game. I'll put him B. Varus, again one of the very annoying, again very safe, very hard to kill, pokes you to death. He is basically like Nidali. But unlike Nidali, maybe he has his R, which you can land on all 5 members of the enemy team. I'll put Varus in S. I personally do not like playing him, but he is probably one of the most annoying champions to play against. Vayne, yeah, Vayne is you very weak early game, and again because I feel like you have to be good at Vayne. Probably has the shortest range of all the ADCs. So how good you are revolves around how well you use her R. Because of her because she's sort of harder as compared to other champs to learn for Era. I'll put her in B. Veigar. Veigar is also very good in ARAM. His cage is probably one of the most effective abilities in ARAM. I cannot go wrong with Veigar. I'll put him in S. Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz again very annoying, easy to play, easy to pick up. I'll put him in A and effective too. Victor. Victor seems good, but he's sort of harder to learn or harder to know how to use him in ARAM. I'll put him in B. Vi. Do you go Assassin Vi? How do you play Vi? Bruiser Vi. Even you can go tank Vi. She has many options. Again, she is one of those champs like Lee Sin, Renekton, where the damage she does, especially early game, is really unbelievable. She does a lot of damage. Vi. Her R is also a very good ability. The biggest problem with Vi would be she falls off. She's also very beginner friendly. Yeah, you'd feel like if you play Vi and you've never played Vi before or you're new to ARAM, you'd do amazing things and you'd be very happy. But after a while, she gets boring, and she sort of has counter. But she's also very good at countering champs like. She's a very good counter for Pike. Probably the most annoying champ in ARAM. Yeah, one of the most or the most annoying champ in ARAM. I'll put her on E because of that. Trandom, not Trandom. Vladimir. I was going to say Trandemir. Vladimir. In my time of playing ARAM for about 2 years, I play like 99% ARAM. In all that time, I have seen only once a Vladimir player 1v5. I've tried to do the same many times, not successful. So Vladimir, I believe, is more of one of the harder champions to know how to play an era or know how to play in general. I put him in C because of that. Volibear is also tank Volibear is really annoying and can help his team. When I'll put him in B. Warwick or whatever. He's actually one of my mains, and considering he is sort of a boring champ, he's actually sort of fun to play in era. Yeah, especially if you can queue through, and if you can land your R, and if you can land your E, your fear on a lot of enemy champs. That's also really good. He's really good if you play him like that. I put him in A. Especially his early game is very strong. I put him in A. Wukong, for me, he is sort of boring. Maybe it's because I used to play him a lot. Now he's boring for me. But of course, Wukong is very effective. He can use his W to go out. His ult is really good, especially after the rework. Yeah, the rework slash upgrade. I will put him in E. Kaisa. This is not. This is Zaya, not Kaisa. I confuse the two a lot. Zaya. Zaya is A because of her ult. Assassins cannot kill her because of her ult. And if you play her well, I believe the assassin build is better than the invisible assassin. What is that item that makes you invisible after you kill a champ? If you play that, I think it would be good. Barret, he's like Vel'Koz basically. Very long ranged, very hard to kill, but does a lot of damage. I'll put him here. And also has a stun. Wen Shao. Or is it Shin Shao? However you call him. Again, very bad late game, but early. He's like Warwick basically. I'll put him next to Warwick. Yasuo. Now, when it comes to Yasuo and Yone, I'll probably place them at the same place. Okay, for me, Yone is an easier champion to play as compared to Yasuo. But the thing about these two champs, the thing that you have to understand an ARAM is, unless of course you're really good at them, your early game is weak. So do not go tank, still go the usual build, but play the early game safe. Yeah, don't go in unless you're very sure that you'll get a kill. So play safe until you're until late game, until you're, I don't know, 2 items, 3 items, not two, maybe 3 items. Yeah, until you're 3 items, play safe. And as the game goes on and on, as the game goes late, as you reach late game, very late game, you will be really amazed by your damage. Yeah? If you understand that, then both are A in my opinion. Okay, Yorick. I don't see this champ often in ARAM. Yeah, the thing about Yorick is that he'd be very hard to kill and gets focus, doesn't die, and because of that you create pressure, and that would probably be a win condition for you. Yeah, put him in B. A, yes. Yorick is actually annoying. His R is annoying, and those zombies he sends are annoying. I'll put him in A. Yumi. Yumi enables some champs like Tryndamere, a severe. Some champs really need Yumi, and if they have Yumi, they're basically unstoppable. So they'll better put her A. Zac. If you go tank, I don't think AP Zac is good in ARAM. It has to be tank Zac. If you do that, put him in Z. Z is without doubt S tier. Let me put him S here. The Z is without doubt S tier. Most of the assassins are probably an S. They usually, if you can kill, like I said, the squishies on the enemy team, then you basically would win the game. This guy, Ziggs, very annoying abilities, very good poke. Yeah, I'll put him in A. Zillion. Yeah, Zillion is also good in ARAM. A. Zoe, for me, she is very hard to play. Uh, I'll put Zoe in C, mostly because of how hard she is to reach that level where you say are good. You can play her well in ARAM. To reach that level, it takes a lot for Zoe. But if you are good, she might as well be an A tier champ. Zyra is a very annoying champ, like I said, because of her plants. She basically renders your, say, snowball, one of the better summoner spells in ARAM, snowball, because of her plants. You cannot use, basically, she renders that summoner spell useless. Um, and also she does damage over time. Zyra is really good in ARAM. Action, 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 action. Action might, but he also has peel. He can sort of run away from assassins, or he sort of can kill them before they can kill him. Action is actually good. He is good. He is good. Still hard, like Zoe. He's a hard champion to get acceptably good at, but you can still do much damage even though you're not good at him. Because of that, put him in. Vex is definitely A. Because of her ult. If you can land that ult combo and fear the enemy team, you basically can 1v5, kill everyone on the enemy team. If you can constantly reset your ult and spam your ult, really good. Okay, Renata. Renata, again, I feel like you have to be a good Renata player. You have to know when to use your ult, because your ult is really amazing if you know the right time to use it. That will be Zuri, 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 Zuri. Yeah, Zuri is too squishy. I don't think she can escape assassins well. Belveth, Belveth is a one of those unstoppable champs in era. Yeah, she's good. And Nilaha? Okay, I'll put her in A. Yeah, Nilaha is basically a melee champ. You would think she's ADC, but in ARAM, you'd play more. You play her more like a melee champ, and she's very hard to kill as well. So I have seen her 1v5 a lot. Yeah, so she's really good. So guys, this is what my tier list looks like. Like I said, these are the best ARAM champs in my opinion. In my 2 years of experience of playing almost only ARAM, and a lot at that. Like I said, if you want ARAM easy mode, go with Kassadin. So if you get any of these champs in your roles, play them. Trust me, you'll succeed most of the time. So this is the S tier, this is the A tier. I think most of the champs are in the A tier. To be honest, if you are good at a certain champ, you sort of cannot go wrong in era. Yeah? Even here, if you pick any of these B tier champs, maybe try to avoid these ones, the C tier champs. But like I said, I don't think it matters if you're really good. Yeah, so one more time. S, A, B, C, D. I don't have any champ in D tier. Do I? Who would I? If I was to add one champ in the D list, who would it be? I think it would be Ash, yeah. I would do it like that. Not that hard to play, but for some reason, Ash doesn't work in ARAM. I have seen, say, once or twice where an Ash was doing good. It's not just me I'm talking about. In whatever the team I am in or the team I am facing, if they have an Ash, if we have an Ash, the Ash always seems to be doing bad. I don't know why. And even for me, she is. I don't seem to get her to work on ARAM. So if I have to put one champion D, it would be Ash. Maybe I would put Ivan in D as well, but I do not know how to play Ivan. What? Maybe Ramos? Yeah, Ramos. Yeah, it's easy to. I'll do it like that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's have that. So we have two champs in D. So it'd be Ash and Ramos. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you everyone for watching. Goodbye.